Hey, Adam,
Geez,
one
why,
thing.
why do you think they're called bumpers, Gary?
I don't know.
Because they come at the beginning, at the end, like bumpers.
Alex, you're a marketing guy. Do you like that design behind Paul? Does that sweet logo thing look pretty cool to you?
Hey, I forgot to hit the record button.
Yeah, that's really professional, isn't it?
Well, this is a professional podcast.
I met her in a parking lot and was handed two little Yorkies. And the only person I knew that knew Yorkies was Paul. So I called Paul and said, Paul.
Sweet Talk is a weekly 20-minute podcast brought to you by the Continuing Education and Workforce Training Division of Idaho State University's College of Technology. Find us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and SoundCloud, and subscribe today. Now it's time to get started with Sweet Talk.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Sweet Talk, our weekly podcast here at Idaho State University's Continuing Education and Workforce Training. As always, I am your co-host, Paul Dickey, the Video Instruction Manager and Apprenticeship Coordinator here at SWEET. And joining me, as always, is Gary Salazar, our Director. Gary, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Wonderful introduction again, Paul. Thank you so much. And we are having a fantastic Friday here. The sun is out, the temperature's going up. Who cannot be feeling good on a day like this? Thanks for joining us. Angela Wilhelm is our marketing coordinator. Angela, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm happy that the sun is shining. So yes, how are you, Gary? Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, I'm terribly excited about this because we have a special guest joining us today, Scott Stevens, who's pretty well known throughout our community for many of the things he does. There's some things you may not be aware of. He is our business consultant for Continuing Ed and Workforce Training. He drives business to a lot of our programs and classes. He makes connections out there, but one of the most awesome connections that he makes and has started, and that's the reason we're here today with him, is the construction combine, which just finished here last week. Scott, welcome to Sweet Talk. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Excellent.
Yeah, hanging
Excellent.
in there. The snow's melted. Flag football season started.
Yeah, moving on to bigger things. That's
Yeah.
great. And if for those of you who are watching this on YouTube, and those of you who are not, you're listening to it. What you cannot see is Scott's background, which is a representation of the layout that he came up with and developed for the construction combine. Scott, we're so glad to have you here on this 20-minute little presentation we have. It's a chance to talk about some of our great events, some of the decision makers out there, and what has happened with you in this case. I'd love for you to start talking about what is the construction combine and what happened here in 2023 with the event that just took place.
What is the construction combine? It's something that we created clear back in 2018, or we started working on in 2017.
17, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while, but it's an event. We were trying to find ways to get more people into the skilled trades and provide some training. Like the contractors, I talked to some contractors at the very beginning about like some other type of training, and they're like, hey, right now we just need basic kids that know basic skills like reading a tape measure and how to use some of the tools in construction. And so we developed this program called the Construction Combine. It's a 2-day event. And in that event, the first day we do training and I think we did 11 different topics this year. So like framing and roofing, plumbing. We even had HVAC. We even had excavation, which was really fun. We've done that for the last 3 years. And so it's really, it's that first day is very intense. There's a lot of things happening, a lot of moving pieces. And in like the framing and the roofing stations, we're building the parts that go to a shed that then we put together on the second day. And then the second day is that's what we do. We have all the participants break onto different teams. This year we built 11 sheds. They put them together, and then we give those sheds to disabled veterans. I need to back up a little bit. I got ahead of myself. Home Depot is our major partner in this, and they donate all of the material for those sheds. And so it's really cool because it kind of just aligns a bunch of different needs in the community. creating skilled labor, creating people who are interested in the construction business, getting into it, learning a little bit about it. And then the culminating event is really supporting our community, and especially those that gave a lot to defend our country, and being able to honor them.
Yeah, yeah. You started out really, really good, and you mentioning Home Depot, who definitely, and they have a new store manager out there, Dia, and she
Yeah.
chipped in. She was so excited when she came on out, and I think their regional director came on out. We also had it was Cole, and then Josh, and then Haley. Just so many other people and volunteers at Home Depot. And you're right, that grant that they provide, I think you said before, it was like 20,000 or over $20,000
Yeah.
material. I mean,
Yeah, a lot
that's
of
huge. Yeah.
Yeah, material's expensive. I mean,
Yeah.
it went up. The first year that we did it, material wasn't as expensive as it is now. And but yeah, they one other person to add to that list of Home Depot people. I think this deserves a little bit of just talking. Is like the main collaborator with this idea with Home Depot was Brad Landon.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Started. Brad was a major force and driving force in making this happen. And then he accepted a promotion and moved on to bigger and better things. And then but his successor Dia came on, and a store manager at Home Depot. I don't know a ton about it, just kind of what I've seen, but they're busy. I mean, they're managing
All the
multi-million-dollar store, thousands of different products and stuff like that. And so she delegated it to one of her store managers whose name was Cole. And Cole did a great job at getting us up to striking distance. But then Cole, he has a lot of talent and management and leadership, and he got a new job. And so they brought in Josh Lowe, who brought it all home. And he did a great job. I mean, but that was really kind of an interesting thing, is like it was pretty seamless though. It was really seamless in working with them. And a lot of that actually falls on a lady that works at Home Depot at the pro desk. Her name's Sam. I forget Sam's last name now, but like Sam, she was kind of the reason why it was so seamless. Like we could call her. She'd been experienced and stuff.
Yeah, what you've pointed out is, and going back to what you said earlier on, this thing started as an idea in 2017, first one held in 2018, and I remember that one really fondly. I mean, it was cold outside. It was a lot of work, and we didn't do everything exactly the way we wanted, but we learned a lot. And every year you've been fine tuning this event. So the lessons learned along the way, the integral knowledge that everybody brings to it, is what made this one kind of go as smoothly as it did, even though there were changes along the way. And that wasn't the only change. There was a venue change that came up too. That worked out amazingly well. Can you tell us a little bit about how that came out?
That was right. Friday, the Friday before the event. I came into the office. It was snowing like crazy here, and I walked into your office, Gary, and I was like, I think we need to have a contingency, if not a complete venue change. And you're like, I think you're right. And so, I mean, I think we just started brainstorming where we could do it. I think you mentioned the Holt Arena, even the Titan Center. I think all the ideas were your ideas of where we could go. So we looked at, I was like, the Titan Center just kind of seemed to ring pretty well. I thought maybe there's an opportunity. And I got on my phone and tried to find a phone number. I couldn't find any. I called like a realtor that I thought was like involved with them, but they never got back to me either. But I won't name that realtor, but yeah. But yeah, I thought, I'm just gonna hop in the truck and head over there. And like, I took my assistant with me, and we drove over to the Titan Center, and we were just kind of driving through. The complex is a pretty good sized complex. And we were just driving through it, and we saw a guy getting ready to go into a building, and I actually just honked the horn. And we just kind of see, looking back on it, seems kind of maybe a little bit rude or whatever. But I was in a hurry. I got not in a hurry, but like a little bit like frantic. I didn't want to an opportunity, and it waved him over. He came over. His name was Tim Wallace, and I explained our situation. He's like, I think we have a place for you. I think let me show you.
Wow.
And so it wasn't like,
well,
I don't know if we can help you. It was like, I think we can help you, and let me show you what I'm thinking. And he'd actually had came to the one in 2022 just checking it out. And so he kind of knew what we were talking about, maybe what we were looking for. And he showed us a space, and it worked out perfectly. I brought everybody on Monday and showed everyone on our planning team. And everyone's like, yep, this will work. This will be great. And they were just really accommodating. Like, and then there was there's neighbors in that, like, that were in part of that building as well. And they were so accommodating. They
Right.
even let us use their forklift. And it just, yeah, I mean, excuse me, like Titan and the people that are kind of doing the repair work with Titan, kind of cleaning, making that a better facility. They let us use their forklift. They're just extremely accommodating. And I think it was, yeah, I mean, without that, I think it would have been a pretty tough to do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and you know, the impetus for that was when you came and say the weather's changing, we need a backup plan, you know, and I'm so glad we did, even though it involved a lot of pivoting to make that thing come about, because it did snow on and off throughout the next 2 days, and I was glad we were inside, able to pull that thing together. We were very, very fortunate, but going back to this thing, all the steps that you've done at every one of these events, all the people you've connected with, the organizations that are out there, you know, that kind of set this up to be able to run as smooth as it did, even though we had to make some change last minute. And everybody jumped in. Everybody helped out. What a cool thing. You know, at
Yeah.
the end, when we wrap this up, we'll say something else about this special community we have out here. But talk to us about the 2 days, but in particular the last day when we built how many sheds there in this event? Was it 11 again or 12? It was 11,
Yeah, we
right?
did 11.
We did 11 sheds.
The sheds,
And
shed day. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm always amazed when we pull this together and we look back and you go, gee, man, Christmas. We started talking about this, you know, in September. You and I did, but you were probably thinking about it before that. And here we are on the last day of this thing coming together, and the plan was working and people were coming together. And then Paul and Angela came up with this really nifty idea of way to do some social media on the spot
Yeah.
kind of demos. And you got to talk about that, you guys. But holy cow, we were getting the word out and we were talking to students, and students again were saying, hey, I got a job offer, you know, and I go, oh, it's working. That's what we wanted to see happening.
That is one of the most amazing things, is the job offers, opportunities. You know, a lot of these participants are young high school students, and we talked to a gentleman from Sputnik. They are a company here in southeastern Idaho that makes farm equipment, and they were there doing the welding demonstrations. And he spoke to us that he was looking like, well, we need like a lot of help. We need like 70 people. Says and you know, right now, if they're showing a natural aptitude, I'm going to offer them. And he said, he spoke of a couple of people. We spoke to one young gentleman that got a job offer, and he spoke of another young lady who he was very impressed with, and he had offered her a job as well. So it was kind of great that you know, they were getting you know, because part of this is you have young people participating, but they're also being kind of scouted by some of the contractors that are participating, which that's one thing I don't know if we mentioned that yet, is the participation of the local contractors in the construction combine. I mean, you have Home Depot, who is a gigantic partner, and then Titan, who came in, you know, and did that, you know, save at the end. And then, but you have these contractors who are giving up their day to help with the training portion of the event. Isn't that correct, Scott?
And I think, I mean, that, you know, the construction combine is kind of an interesting, like, way we perceive it, I guess, is kind of interesting, but like the reason for it is not for the participant, it's for the contractor. That's why we do it. It's not, you know, we want to give a good experience to the student. We want to give a good experience to those that we call them participants, because not all of them are young kids and stuff like that. But the whole purpose is really for the contractor, and it's exactly what you're saying, Paul, is to be able to scout out new talent. And so, you know, and that's, you know, that's what we always say. I always say, like, it's a construction combine, and it's kind of, sometimes people think it's, you know, not, they think it's a joke, but they kind of laugh at it. But there's only 3 rules to the construction combine for people that participate. And, you know, the first thing is it's got to be safe. You got to be safe while you're there, you know, wear your PPE, watch out for danger, keep, you know, just be safe. The second thing is like, don't interfere with someone else's training. You know, like, we're there to train, we're there to learn, we're there to grow. And so stay focused, like, I tell this to sponsors, I was like, you can do anything, just don't interfere with the training, right? Like let these kids train, let these contractors do their thing. And then the third one, people laugh at it, but like, just don't be a jerk, or don't, I use a different term, but I won't here, but like, just
Too
don't,
late.
yeah, yeah, maybe you get it now, but just don't be a jerk. Like, just, if there's a problem, come talk to me. Let's work it out. We're all here. Let's all have good faith in each other, that we're all here to do the right thing and help each other out. And so it's kind of, that's what we try to, that's what the combine's all about. But again, like, the focus of it is for contractors to come in and see individuals who want to be in the construction industry. And I don't know anywhere else that you can do that. I talk to contractors a lot about this, and like, I'll ask them about their own hiring practices. And a lot of times they'll say, oh, I'll hire a guy and I'll give him, like, how long do you give him before you're sold on him, so to speak? They're like, well, probably a month. Well, usually we give them like 3 months. And I was like, well, how long does it take until you know that they're going to be good? And they're like, well, a couple hours.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's kind of what, that's what the combine does, is it gives them that couple of hours to see if that kid's going to fit, or that individual's going to fit. And, and again, I don't know where else you could do that. I mean, of course, they're giving their time up, and that we really appreciate it, because we love this project. We want it to go. We want it to continue to be perpetual. It's fun for us to put together, but in the end, it's just really for the contractor to find good help.
Yeah.
So-
And that model is coming through. Sorry, Angela, go ahead.
No, it's okay. So I was actually going to talk to you a little bit about the participants right now. Can you talk a little bit about where I guess our partnership with local school districts, and how many participants you've seen over the years?
Yeah, absolutely. So usually the construction combine, we started in 2018, and we got, we really partnered hard with School District 25, and that's the local school district here in Pocatello. And so we just focused on them, and we didn't know what to expect. We were kind of all flying by the seat of our pants. And so we thought maybe we'd get maybe 80, but we ended up getting a little over 50, and it was fantastic. Then in 2019, we'd learned some lessons. We were able to come up with some new ideas, and we actually ended up getting over 80. I think we got like 87 people that came out in 2019. It was, we got momentum. We started working with schools outside of Pocatello. Like, we started working with some of the Blackfoot schools and Showban, and then Marsh Valley. And so we kind of expanded our circle just a little bit more, if you will, as far as regionally. And then 2020 hit, and it kind of, we were planning for a great event, but just like everybody can look back on 2020 and they're like, wow, that it decimated a lot of things, and it decimated, we had to cancel the construction combine, and it kind of blunted our momentum, if you will. But we got smart. We started thinking about things. We had a lot of help. A lot of more people came on and helping. We decided, hey, we're going to do it in 2021, and we did. We were safetied up to the max. Like, we had ServPro that came in, and they're like, we got this special spray that we can spray everything down with. Home Depot's like, we'll donate some masks, and along with other things. We really took safety to the nth degree. In fact, I probably I wrote probably the most robust safety plan in the history of safety plans. And
I remember that too.
Yeah. I still have the slides. I'm a PowerPoint ranger, as you can see behind me. But like, but yeah, we had a lot of that going on. And then, skip forward to 2023, like 2022, we had a good turnout, but we were starting to average about 50. But this year, we really we really expanded our circle. Annie Harrison, Quentin, and Holly Kuchner. So Holly works in the College of Arts and Letters, and she has a lot of contacts with the entire region of schools. And so we used those contacts, and we went down and we got Soda Springs and Bear Lake, and this year, just our circle expanded, and I don't have time to go through all of the high schools, but Soda Springs brought like 17 kids. All of those kids were highly sought after by the contractors. They're all hard workers. Bear Lake brought 9 kids. They were all on their spring break too at the time. Like, they'd taken time out of their spring break to be here. They're teachers, and a lot of the credit it goes to those students, but a lot of it to their teachers as well. Their teachers really take the event serious, and take the opportunity serious. And so it's awesome. I mean, yeah, I mean, the last number I heard was like 97, but then, Angela, and you and I were talking, I think Monday, and you were like, it might've been over 100. Like we keep pretty meticulous. We keep pretty meticulous tabs. It's just, making sure you're pulling all the information together to know. So yeah, what were you going to say, Angela?
I was going to say, I believe we had 102. So it was a record year. I'm very, very happy to hear this. I'm also happy because we do have apprenticeship programs within the continuing education program, Idaho State University, that Paul is over. And all three of those apprenticeship programs, which are HVAC, plumbing, and electrical, were stations within this construction combine. So not only does this give students the ability to see if like framing or roofing or something such as those types of trades are fits for them, but for the students who really like the electrical and plumbing and HVAC, we have programs for them. And I can tell you our colleague Martin Jem, him and his daughters were in this construction combine.
Yeah.
And one of his daughter's favorite station was the electrical station.
Yeah.
So it's really, really nice that we're not just supporting these students and these employers in finding a career, but we're also supporting them in that educational aspect of three of those career choices, which is our apprenticeship programs.
Yeah, there's so much to go here. I don't know if you guys heard it, but our 20-minute timer went off.
Wow.
And normally what we do is we start wrapping things up here, but there's a couple things, Scott, that is always impressive about this event, and you do a fantastic job of outreach to community. You depend on a lot of people to help with that. It's the play that you've brought to this has continually gotten more and more refined. And we know already that, it's taken off around the state. They've done it. You've gotten calls from outside the state. This is a fantastic program that services our industry, our construction industry. It services education, both at our level and at the high school level. It's communities and rural, and it's just everywhere. It's a win for everything. So, you don't get enough pats on the back for the idea. We're trying to make this thing come about. As we close this, though, I don't want to leave out some other major contributors. And you did mention the Shoshone-Bannock tribe. They were out here doing the tarot. Steve Quinton, who's your lead contractor on this thing, he teaches a class out there.
Yeah.
And those guys come and they help out so much. It's a fantastic, another contribution, how it's all interrelated. And I have fun with the Army guys, the Army National Guard guys, but they show up, and their leader, Sean, didn't make it this time. He got promoted. Sean Edwards got promoted and he didn't come out, and I'm making this a point. So his other guys were kidding him and doing all sorts of great work. I think they did a better job without him out here, honestly.
Sean got promoted to be part of the problem, but Sean, he sent some really class.
Oh, they were awesome. They did a fantastic job, and don't forget, you set up long ago working with McDonald's. They provide all those lunches, and Black Hawk Barbecue. Those guys were fabulous. That's a vet-owned operation out here. They took care of, helping us out. And the Army guys, they paid for all that stuff. So again, so many fingers in the pot. There's one last group that I feel like I need to mention here is, you talked about the sheds, Scott, and how they're going to be delivered out to the different veterans. Well, what many people don't realize or know is Denny's Wrecker does that. And they found out that some of these sheds are outside the 30-mile limit, like Grace and Malad. And they voluntarily, they're not charging they're not charging anybody anything to make those deliveries. And they're taking those on their own back, and they're doing this week and next week until they get them all. I mean, that is huge. That's money out of their pocket, and they're doing that because they want to be a part of this effort. So kudos to them and thanks to them for all they're doing. And as we close this thing up, Scott, man, thank you for all the effort you've put into this thing. It's taken off, and Annie, and Angela, you and Paul were just incredible in all the things you did. I get to sit on the sidelines and watch all that. It's just amazing.
I can't tell you how much I appreciated Paul, because I'll tell you what, like
Yeah.
all I did was post stuff, right? All I did was post stuff and come up with a few descriptions. Paul, in the time I would post something, had already filmed and edited a little video to give me something else to post. Like it was
Yeah.
amazing watching him work.
Yeah, another innovative idea that's come out of this, and we're going to apply that idea in some of our other events. And it all goes back to how everybody's working so well together here. But unfortunately and sadly, and we can talk about this thing all day, but we're at the end
All
of our
day.
of our time. Paul, Angela, thank you for joining us with truly an amazing element here. Scott Stephen, who's a part of this sweet team. He brings so much to it, and this particular event, this is his. And he does a fantastic job with it. Thank you again, Scott, for joining us on Sweet Talk. Thanks for being a part of the Combine and bringing it to Idaho State University and our fantastic Pocatello Chubbuck community out there. Paul, we
Yeah.
need to wrap
So-
this up, man.
Yeah, and part of it wrapping up this week is so while we were out there at the construction combine, I was doing a lot of recording of our partners for the event,
Mhm.
and those videos are posted on our YouTube page. So if you'd like to see all the participants, that sponsors and the
Yeah.
contractors that donated their time, please check them out, and just like to acknowledge and appreciate their contributions. Of course, if you want to come to our webpage to check out the offerings that we have, you can visit us at cetrain.isu.edu. If you have any questions for us, you can email us at cetrain@isu.edu. You can also give us a call at 208-282-3372. And if you like this podcast, you want to hear more, please like, subscribe, share. The more we get the word out, the more that these events that we have become even more successful and can grow over time. Thank you so much, Scott, for joining us today. Really
Mhm.
appreciate
Yeah.
it. Gary, Angela, always, thank
Great.
you so much. And Gary, can't do this without you, man.
Hey, we're all here. Hey, everybody, you have a great weekend coming up. If you hear this next Wednesday or whenever this gets posted out, we're going to have a great weekend because it's sunny and warm. Everybody be safe out there.